So today we're going to look a little bit at actually loading up some subsonic rounds for a 300 Blackout. Now I know when I first got into this I was really interested in getting the quietest round I possibly could, and I wanted to learn about it, so I went to work learning about it. So today I'm just going to give you a brief little overview of kind of what I've come up with and what has worked really, really well for me. Now, one of the biggest things for the 300 Blackout is that it's a fully functional, you're able to get yourself a fully functional, essentially AR-15 platform that shoots subsonics, which means that it works great with a suppressor. And when we put a suppressor on those 300 Blackouts that are actually subsonic, then we're able to really get a functional, quiet round. Now, there's a lot of options and there's a lot of information out there, but basically it's a combination of your primer, which is probably the least important aspect of the 300 Blackout subsonic load, your powder, which is probably the most important aspect. Actually, I have to say is the most important aspect of your load, and your bullet with your bullet weight. Alright, so what we're looking at here is starting from left going right, we've got a 168 grain boat tail, then we've got a 220 grain boat tail, and then we got a 240 grain boat tail, all made by Sierra. These are Match Kings. Now, I've had really awesome success with that guy in the middle, the 220 grain boat tail, and I have matched that with this accurate 1680 powder. Like I said, the primers, they don't matter as much, and I have paired up with a lot of different primers. And the powder's the most important aspect. So you got your brass, you got your projectiles, you've got your powder, you've got your rifle, and you've got your suppressor. So what are we going to do to make this thing work? Well, I'm not going to give you specific load data because that's going to be something you can find online now that you know the powder to use. And for liability purposes, this is educational. You would obviously reload at your own risk. But I want to show you one thing about the powder real quick, if we can pick this up. Now right here this is a powder. You can see how grainy it is. This powder right here is an IMR 4831. You might be familiar with it for reloading hunting rifles and whatnot. 30-06, 300 Win Mag, 7mm Magnum. You would be used to something that grainy. This right here, you can see it's very, very fine. It is the consistency of the 1680. It's very consistent in its burn, and it's very, very hot. So what that means is it's a hot, fast burning powder, which is going to be enough to get that bullet down your barrel, that 220 grain bullet down your barrel very quietly, and it's going to be consistent. There are some other powders that are out there, and I've tried them all, and they are actually kind of inconsistent. Inconsistent in the sense that sometimes they'll work your fully functional action, sometimes they won't feed, sometimes they won't lock your bolt all the way back on the last round. So we have a situation where basically consistency is king. Consistency is king because when you're shooting those subsonic rounds, you want them to be quiet and consistent. So if we kind of sum things up, you want those loads to be light or heavy so that they create more pressure. Not light. Light won't work. And you want them to be super quiet. I've tried a bunch. I've tried some 200s. They worked okay, not great. There's a Hornady, a 208 grain SST bullet that I think is the quietest bullet, and it just functions beautifully. I haven't been able to find any in quite some time, but I have some of these left over, so I wanted to show you those. So for subsonic loads, with your suppressor, your 300 Blackout, and the right combination of powder, primer, and projectile, you can have quite a bit of fun shooting subsonic loads at a very, very low decibel. So hopefully you find this interesting. Thank you so much.